For years, Florida's housing market seemed unstoppable. From Miami's glittering towers to Tampa's booming suburbs, sellers held all the power. Homes sold faster than listings could go live. Investors fought for every square foot, and builders raced to keep up with demand. But in 2025, everything has changed. Across the Sunshine State, listings are stacking up. Price cuts are flashing across screens, and sellers who once felt untouchable are growing desperate. Inventory has surged, buyer confidence has cooled, and the era of bidding wars is over. Today on Discover the Nation, we count down the 10 Florida cities where home sellers are desperate for buyers. These are the markets where homes sit longer, prices fall faster, and reality is finally catching up to the dream. Stay until number 1, because what's happening here may be the preview of America's next housing correction.
Number 10. Orlando. Orlando once symbolized Florida's unstoppable rise. From 2020 through 2022, the city became one of the fastest-growing housing markets in the country. Families poured in, developers overbuilt, and sellers felt they could list homes faster than they could be sold. But by 2025, the magic has faded. Listings have surged, and homes that once sold within days now linger for months on market. According to recent data, the average home value in Orlando is down about 4.5% year over year, while homes for sale have climbed roughly 35% compared with a year prior. Across much of the metro, the inventory levels reached their highest point since 2011. In neighborhoods like Lake Nona and Baldwin Park, newly built homes that once sold out pre-launch are now being offered with price reductions and closing credits just to draw attention. The city's economy remains strong, with population growth and job gains still present. Yet affordability has vanished. Higher mortgage rates, rising insurance premiums, and climbing property taxes are pushing many buyers to the sidelines. Sellers who expected open houses packed with offers now wait patiently for showings that may never come. Even new construction has slowed as developers pull back their pipelines, aware that the buyer pool has thinned. Orlando's housing story used to be about growth and opportunity. Now it is about patience and survival. The city that once promised endless demand is discovering that even the happiest place on earth can lose its momentum.
Number 9. Cape Coral. A city once built on dreams of sunlit canals, affordable luxury, and explosive growth. But in 2025, the shine has worn off, and reality has come crashing in. During the pandemic years, this Gulf Coast city became a magnet for out-of-state buyers and investors. New builds sold before foundations were poured. Bidding wars were the norm. Home values skyrocketed, fueled by optimism and easy credit. But that wave crested, and now it is receding fast. Median home prices in Cape Coral have dropped more than 10% in just the past year. Inventory has surged. Entire neighborhoods that once saw homes vanish in days now sit with row after row of unsold properties. Builders are offering everything from appliance packages to prepaid insurance just to draw buyers in. Still, many homes sit untouched. The insurance burden is crushing. After Hurricane Ian, new flood zone maps swept across the region. Homes previously considered low risk are now subject to mandatory flood coverage. Some residents are paying premiums above $10,000 a year. That alone is pushing families to reconsider their future here. Investors have pulled back. Short-term rental saturation has eroded returns. Even long-term homeowners are starting to list out of fear of what comes next. From above, Cape Coral still looks like a tropical dream. Palm-lined streets, crystal canals, boats rocking gently in the sun. But on the ground, the market is in retreat. A once thriving boomtown now caught in the undertow of overvaluation and unforgiving economics. The tide turned quickly, and many never saw it coming.
Number 8. Naples.
Naples has long been Florida's crown jewel of coastal luxury, a playground for the wealthy where sugar-white beaches meet rows of million-dollar homes and Fifth Avenue sparkles with high-end glamour. For decades, this paradise felt untouchable. Buyers from New York, Chicago, and across the globe lined up for a piece of its perfection. But in 2025, even Naples is feeling the chill. Median home prices have dropped nearly 19% year over year, and the luxury market is sliding faster. Multi-million-dollar estates that once sold in days now linger for months. Condos and waterfront towers remain empty, their lights off at night. The city still looks flawless, but sellers are quietly panicking behind the polished exterior. Soaring insurance premiums and rising property taxes are squeezing even the affluent. Retirees who once saw Naples as their final stop are preparing exits, hoping to sell before values dip further. Meanwhile, the wealthy buyers who fueled Naples' rise are hesitating. Remote work has lost its shine, and the appetite for sprawling second homes is fading. Sellers are making moves they once swore they'd never make. They're waiving contingencies, throwing in furniture, even offering to cover insurance costs, just to close a deal. Words like discount and price reduction echo through a market that once thrived on exclusivity. Naples still photographs like perfection. The beaches are pristine, the greens glisten, and the sunsets remain cinematic. But beneath the postcard image, a quiet reckoning has begun. The luxury market that once defied gravity is now negotiating with reality. And in 2025, even paradise comes with a price.
Number 7. Tampa. Tampa was once the poster child for Florida's real estate success. From 2020 to 2023, it became a magnet for migration, money, and growth. Downtown cranes painted the skyline. Corporate relocations made headlines. Buyers from across the country flooded booming suburbs like Wesley Chapel, Apollo Beach, and Brandon, snapping up homes faster than builders could keep pace. But in 2025, Tampa's rapid rise has cooled into a quiet correction. Homes that once sold in a weekend now sit for 60 days or more. Nearly one-third of listings have seen price cuts, many dropping more than $20,000 just to attract buyers. Open houses that once overflowed with energy now echo with silence. The reason is simple. Tampa overshot. Developers, fueled by pandemic demand and cheap financing, built faster than the market could sustain. Townhomes, condos, and suburban expansions filled every corner of the metro, built on the belief that demand would never slow. But it did. Mortgage rates have climbed, freezing potential buyers in place. Utility costs and insurance premiums have surged. Tampa's reputation for affordability is fading fast. First-time buyers are priced out, investors are stepping back, and many sellers who bought at the peak are now watching their equity evaporate. In the once bustling neighborhoods near downtown, new condos stand half-sold. In the outer suburbs, builders are offering every incentive imaginable, covering closing costs, offering mortgage buydowns, even backyard upgrades, anything to get contracts signed. Tampa still glows under the evening sun. Its skyline still stuns, but beneath that golden glow, the market is quietly unraveling. The metro that once felt recession-proof is now facing a hard reset. Oversupply is rising, demand is shrinking, and the balance that powered Tampa's growth has begun to shift. In 2025, the pride that once filled Tampa's skyline has been replaced by pressure, and the city that once symbolized Florida's future is learning how quickly the dream can change.
Number 6. Jacksonville. For years, Jacksonville stood as Florida's best-kept secret. It was the city that quietly delivered affordability, opportunity, and growth while larger metros chased headlines. With miles of coastline, strong infrastructure, and booming suburbs, Jacksonville offered everything from quiet family neighborhoods to promising investment properties. It was the place where young families could afford a backyard, where transplants could buy rather than rent, and where developers saw unlimited potential. But in 2025, the charm has started to wear thin. Listings across Jacksonville have doubled since 2022. In Duval and St. Johns counties, homes that once ignited bidding wars now sit untouched for weeks.
The average time on market has jumped from just over 3 weeks to nearly 2 months. Sellers are growing anxious. Price reductions are no longer strategic, they are necessary. Incentives like closing cost credits, mortgage buydowns, and even prepaid utilities are being offered just to spark interest. So what went wrong? Developers built aggressively on the promise of never-ending demand. Entire subdivisions sprang up in record time. But that optimism has collided with economic gravity. High mortgage rates have sidelined entry-level buyers. Property taxes have increased, and insurance premiums have soared, hitting coastal and riverfront neighborhoods particularly hard. The affordability that once set Jacksonville apart has eroded. Even remote workers, once the fuel behind Jacksonville's rise, are no longer rushing in. With hybrid jobs replacing fully remote roles, relocation incentives have faded. Investor interest has waned, and families who once saw Jacksonville as a budget-friendly alternative to Miami or Tampa are now doing the math and walking away. Despite all this, Jacksonville remains a city with potential. The beaches still stretch wide. The river still cuts through downtown with quiet beauty. But the real estate market in 2025 no longer reflects that promise. Sellers are stuck. Buyers are cautious. And what was once Florida's safe bet has become a market looking for its next chapter.
Number 5, Sarasota. Sarasota once embodied the perfect balance of elegance and livability. A coastal gem with world-class beaches, a vibrant art scene, and master-planned communities. It drew both luxury seekers and retirees. Buyers dreamed of morning walks on Siesta Key, evenings at the opera, and sunsets shimmering on condo windows. From 2019 to 2022, Sarasota's real estate market was among the hottest in the country. But in 2025, that masterpiece is showing cracks. Listings have surged nearly 40% in a single year. Price reductions are now the norm, with homes that once sparked bidding wars lingering for months. 5 to 10% drops are common. In upscale areas like Lakewood Ranch and Lido Key, sellers are learning that beauty alone no longer sells. Insurance premiums have doubled across the Gulf Coast. New flood zone classifications have turned desirable waterfront homes into financial risks. Even longtime owners, once confident in their property's value, are struggling as costs climb higher. Property taxes are rising, HOA fees are increasing, and maintenance expenses for aging homes are piling up fast. The buyer pool has shrunk. Investors are pulling out. Retirees are downsizing earlier than planned or skipping Sarasota altogether for cheaper inland options. With fewer cash buyers entering the market, even well-priced homes meet hesitation. What was once a boom has become a burden. Sarasota still shines in the sun, its palm-lined streets and turquoise waters as stunning as ever. But beneath that beauty lies tension. Sellers are cutting expectations and preparing for longer waits. In 2025, Sarasota remains breathtaking, but beauty no longer guarantees demand. The market has shifted, and the city faces a new truth. Even paradise has its limits when costs rise and confidence fades. Number 4, Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale once defined Florida's effortless luxury, a waterfront city where glass towers shimmered over turquoise canals, where yachts lined the marinas like pearls, and where global wealth converged without hesitation. For years, the real estate market here seemed untouchable. Cash buyers dominated, investors built skyward, and developers promised endless growth. But in 2025, the glittering surface has begun to dull. Luxury condos that once sold before completion now linger for months. Units overlooking the intercoastal waterway remain unsold, even after repeated price cuts. Sellers who once commanded bidding wars are now offering to pay closing costs and throw in furniture packages just to close a deal. The silence inside sales galleries tells the story better than any chart can. New state inspection laws, introduced after the Surfside tragedy, have brought a reckoning. Condominiums built decades ago now face multi-million-dollar assessments for structural repairs and upgrades. Condom fees have skyrocketed, doubling or even tripling in some buildings.
For many owners, those monthly costs are no longer sustainable. Even affluent buyers are hesitating, unwilling to commit to a property that comes with unpredictable expenses. Investors who once saw Fort Lauderdale as a safe haven are quietly retreating. International demand has cooled, insurance premiums have soared, flood risks are rising, and too many luxury listings are chasing too few buyers. From Los Olas Boulevard to Pompano Beach, the signs are subtle but unmistakable. Empty showrooms, quiet open houses, and price reductions that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. Fort Lauderdale still photographs beautifully. The sunsets still gleam across the canals. The city still feels like paradise at first glance. But beneath that calm surface, the market is trembling. The foundation of easy luxury has cracked, and the whisper among brokers is the same everywhere. The wealth is thinning, the buyers are vanishing, and even Fort Lauderdale must now face the truth that no market can shine forever.
Number 3, Miami. For a decade, Miami was the heartbeat of America's housing boom. Between 2020 and 2023, the city became the epicenter of global wealth and digital optimism. Luxury towers rose from Brickell to Edgewater. Crypto millionaires poured money into beachfront penthouses. Foreign buyers arrived with briefcases of cash. Developers launched project after project, confident that demand would never slow. But in 2025, Miami's pulse has weakened. The number of homes and condos for sale has skyrocketed. The days of bidding wars are gone. Towers that once sold out on pre-launch are now desperate to fill units. Downtown and coastal neighborhoods are dotted with price-adjusted listings, some cut by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Properties that used to sell within days now sit for months, quietly gathering dust and interest payments. The biggest blow has come from costs. Insurance premiums have doubled in just 2 years, with some owners paying more than $20,000 annually. Property taxes continue to climb. And new structural inspection laws have brought massive special assessments, some larger than the remaining balance on a mortgage. Even wealthy owners are feeling trapped, unsure if they can hold on to properties that now bleed money every month. Foreign investment, once the engine that fueled Miami's growth, has slowed to a crawl. Latin American and European buyers are pulling back, cautious of currency volatility and a cooling global economy. Domestic investors are gone too, spooked by high interest rates and maintenance risks. And as demand falls, inventory piles up, creating the first genuine buyer's market Miami has seen in over a decade. At night, the skyline still glows. Brickell's towers still shimmer in gold and blue, and the beaches remain alive with energy. But the illusion of endless prosperity has faded. Beneath the neon, sellers are learning a harsh truth. Even paradise has limits. And Miami, once unstoppable, is discovering that no market can defy gravity forever.
Number 2, West Palm Beach. West Palm Beach once stood as the quiet jewel of Florida's coastline, a place where elegance meant ease and the wealthy found refuge away from the chaos of Miami. Palm-lined streets, luxury towers overlooking the intercoastal, and waterfront estates that defined prestige turned this city into the crown of Palm Beach County. For decades, it represented stability, confidence, and wealth that seemed endless. But in 2025, that image is beginning to fade. Across Palm Beach County, listings are climbing to levels not seen in more than a decade. Homes that once sold in a weekend now linger for months. Price cuts have become routine, and the sense of urgency that once defined this market has disappeared. Agents who once juggled bidding wars now wait quietly for calls that never come. Rising costs are crushing confidence. Insurance premiums have reached record highs, with some waterfront homeowners paying more than $20,000 a year. Property taxes continue to climb. New hurricane risk maps have made buyers nervous. Even those with deep pockets are starting to question whether paradise still makes financial sense. In downtown West Palm Beach, luxury condos that once sold out during pre-construction now stand half empty. Along Flagler Drive, the gleaming towers that were meant to symbolize wealth are showing a different reality. Owners struggling to sell, developers offering incentives, and investors pulling back. Neighborhoods like El Cid and south of Southern are seeing homes with perfect lawns and falling prices. Sellers who once refused to negotiate now whisper to agents, asking if another price drop might help. The city still sparkles at sunset. The water still glows gold and blue. But behind the beauty lies a quiet truth. The buyers are fewer, the money is slower, and the silence around the open houses says more than the numbers ever could. West Palm Beach still looks like luxury, but beneath the surface, the market is holding its breath, waiting for life to return.
Number 1. St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg was once the shining symbol of Florida's urban comeback, a city that reinvented itself from sleepy retirement haven to vibrant cultural hotspot. Downtown pulsed with rooftop bars, tech startups, and luxury condos overlooking Tampa Bay. Developers called it the next great Gulf Coast success story. Buyers believed them. For years, cranes filled the skyline, and every listing sparked a rush of offers. But by 2025, the tide has changed. Today, St. Petersburg is swimming in inventory. Homes and condos that once vanished within days now linger for months. Listings are up nearly 50% from last year, and the surge in supply is dragging prices down across the metro. Sellers are anxious. Realtors whisper that showings have slowed to a crawl. Developers built too much too fast. New towers downtown, coastal high-rises near Treasure Island, suburban expansions stretching toward Pinellas Park, all came online just as demand cooled. High mortgage rates, soaring insurance premiums, and property taxes have pushed many would-be buyers to the sidelines. The balance has flipped. Incentives are everywhere now. Free homeowners association coverage for a year, interest rate buydowns, closing cost credits, fully furnished units included just to spark interest. Open houses that once drew lines of eager buyers now end in silence, the echoes of optimism fading through empty lobbies. The city still looks spectacular. The Gulf sunsets are as golden as ever. The restaurants along Beach Drive still hum and the murals still paint downtown in color. But beneath the beauty lies fatigue. The momentum that once defined St. Petersburg's rise is slipping away. Sellers are chasing buyers, not the other way around. For the first time in years, the city's growth feels uncertain. Investors who once bragged about quick flips are cutting losses. Longtime homeowners wonder if they should list before values dip further. And developers who once promised a limitless future are quietly scaling back. St. Petersburg remains one of Florida's most beautiful places to live, but it now stands as a warning for the entire state. No boom is endless, and even paradise can lose its shine when the market finally comes back to earth.
Across Florida, a quiet reckoning is unfolding. From Miami to St. Petersburg, sellers who once ruled the housing market are watching power slip through their fingers. Homes sit longer, prices fall faster, and incentives grow bolder. The state that once led America's real estate expansion is now leading its slowdown. But this isn't collapse, it's correction, a return to reality after years of excess. For buyers, opportunity is finally returning. For sellers, patience and price cuts have replaced confidence. And for the rest of the nation, Florida's market may be the early signal of what's coming next. This is Discover the Nation, where we uncover the real story behind America's biggest transformations. If this breakdown opened your eyes, subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay tuned, because what's happening in Florida today may soon reach every corner of the country.